Ladies and gentlemen, members and friends, AEST, Scotch Malt Whisky Society Australia. I'm here with Julian White, co-owner of Whisky Alement, our favourite partner bar in Melbourne, Victoria. And we're here to talk about a very exciting bottling, one that hasn't been released yet, but is coming this Friday. Julian?
39.289. This is a Whisky and Alement exclusive, one that we've picked for this year because we were looking for something a little bit different to our previous releases. We wanted something with a really pronounced cask influence, and we wanted that cask influence in two different ways. We wanted that cask influence to be of the previous inhabitant of the cask. In this case, it's a 4-year finish in a Spanish oak Oloroso sherry cask. And we also wanted that integration to be really there. We wanted it to be not just a bolt-on flavour, we wanted pure integration. We wanted biscuity timber to be front and centre in this cask. So when we were sent directions to the Scotch Malt Whisky Society with a request for what we wanted our special cask to be, we said we want unusual flavours, we want unusual oak, and we were sent back all sorts of weird and wacky bottlings that had passed panel but didn't have labels on them yet. And some of them were, very wine forward. Some of them were very oak forward, all doing beautiful things in their own. But what we were really looking for, and we actually sent back all of the samples and said, these didn't quite hit the marker of what we were after. Not to say that they were, weren't good, but we wanted them to have that real congruence of flavors where everything had time to meld and mash in. And that biscuity timber was something that I personally love and wanted to see front and center. The guys really listened to the feedback that they were given and went, you know what, we can hit that now right on the head. And when we tasted this, we just went, yes, we can't go past that, So a really interesting set of flavors. I think this doesn't really present like a typical, sherry cask dram. I think it's particularly not the old school sherry style. This is more of a modern sherry dram. The old school sherry drams quite often have a very sort of jammy, sort of, dark fruits and mahogany sorts of characters to them. Whereas this is very bright. The sherry influence presents more like spiced orange marmalade and bright red ripe fruits rather than those sort of deep and reduced characters. So I think that the way that it's really sort of sat amongst the bourbon cask as well is really fantastic. 14 years this whiskey spent maturing in ex-bourbon barrel before being transferred into the sherry cask. So a real, huge amount of time there for things to develop and get to know each other.
Yeah, and it's worth noting, that this sherry cask was one of our custom sherry casks since we have such a great relationship with bodegas in Jerez, this is one seasoned to our specifications. And so when Jules talks about all the samples, thank you, that we sent over, and some of the ones are rejected, we've got hundreds of thousands of casks maturing in UK and around the world. So picking samples from ones to Julian and Brooke's specifications, it was
no easy task, that's for sure.
But it's quite. So I think they've nailed this one.
Absolutely. Distillery 39, not often known for being meaty, for being rich and heavy. Distillery number 39. I was actually there at the distillery in May last year, and producing lovely, malty, clean, fruity spirit. That's typically quite light.
That's not what this is.
That's not what this is. Maple mustard pulled pork. You're talking deep, rich sugars. You're talking, thick, almost savoury levels of spirit character in here.
Yeah, I mean, we were remarking before, there's like a barbecue crinkle cut chip note to it, which is fantastic.
Something about boys called Sam.
It's 58, 59%. 58.2% natural cask strength.
Oh, just delicious. And the biscuity timber element, my favourite part. It really shows that the oak, when it was being seasoned, that toasting process has been done really carefully and really beautifully to the absolute maximum that the cask could endure.
So this is the third Whisky Alement and SMWS bottling.
That's right.
Done together. But this is drastically different to the first two.
Yeah, the first two were much younger, and they were quite very, very playful drams, I'd say. Whereas this is more developed and very sort of contemplative. Whereas the other two were very fun and sort of fast sort of styles of drams. But yeah, this is something you can sit down and take your time with and come back to in months to come.
Absolutely. So this bottling will be available this Friday, August 16th, midday AEST for all SMWS members. It will also be available to purchase from the Whisky Alement store, 270 Russell Street, and it's going to be priced at $279.
That's right.
So it's a 17-year-old from Distillery 39, cask strength, and it's absolutely glorious. Jules, thank you very much.
Thank you.